After a tough start with Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton will need to build a stronger relationship with his driver-engineer partner, Riccardo Adami, if he wants to succeed with the Italian team this year. There's nothing like the harsh reality of racing to replace the excitement of a new beginning. The joy that comes with starting fresh quickly fades when things don't go as planned. Hamilton arrived in Melbourne full of excitement, eager to begin his journey with Ferrari. But just 3 days later, the 7-time world champion found himself facing the reality of the challenges that lie ahead. It wasn't just Ferrari's late mistake that caused trouble. Both Hamilton and his teammate Charles Leclerc struggled throughout the weekend. But for Hamilton, the disappointment goes beyond the team's errors. The memory of the weekend will stay with him as he heads to Shanghai this week for the Chinese Grand Prix. Will the team's struggles affect Hamilton's chances of competing for a title this year? It wasn't just the late race loss to Oscar Piastri, which saw Hamilton finish 10th and score only 1 point in the rain at Albert Park, that will weigh on him. The whole experience in Melbourne was a reminder that Ferrari has a long road ahead if it wants to compete at the top this season. In fact, the warning signs were clear long before race day, with the wet weather forecast looming over Sunday's Grand Prix. Normally, Hamilton thrives in the rain, but this time, the conditions that should have played to his advantage instead left him worried and uncertain. It was an astonishing moment, one that set the tone for a chaotic, frustration-filled season opener. From the moment the lights went out to the checkered flag, Hamilton's patience seemed to wear thin, with his frustration becoming increasingly apparent. The growing tension was unmistakable, played out for the world to hear over team radio. Paired with new race engineer Riccardo "Ricky" Adami, Hamilton's 58-lap journey through the Grand Prix quickly thrust their partnership into the spotlight. After 12 years working with the same engineer, Peter "Bono" Bonington, at Mercedes, it was clear there were still kinks to work out. Hamilton is known for preferring short, clear instructions in his ear while navigating a street circuit at 200 miles per hour. And on Sunday, Adami's frequent radio calls weren't exactly what the 40-year-old wanted. Heading into his 19th season in F1, Hamilton knows exactly what he needs to stay focused. This wasn't it. While driving behind the safety car on lap 4, when told to stay in mode charge button on, Hamilton's response was polite but firm. "Yeah, no problem. Just don't repeat everything, please." 9 laps later, Hamilton responded, "Leave me to it, please," twice when instructed to use an overtake button on the steering wheel, as he frustratingly failed to pass the Williams of Alex Albon. By lap 25, the Briton's replies were sharper. "Yes, please leave it. Please leave it." Much of this should come as no surprise. Even during Hamilton's dominant years at Mercedes, his former engineer Bono was no stranger to a few sharp rebukes from the driver. However, with the storm clouds gathering over Melbourne in the final 10 laps on Sunday, Hamilton found himself in a situation he couldn't have anticipated, having to make a strategy call on his own, without full knowledge of the weather radar. Unfortunately, Ferrari's misreading of the weather forecasts ended up costing them dearly. As the rain fell, most of the field pitted, while Hamilton and Leclerc stayed out on dry tires. When Max Verstappen changed tires, Hamilton took the lead and asked, "Is more rain coming?" Adami's response was far from reassuring. "Negative. Just this. Hopefully. Let's see." It hardly inspired confidence, but Hamilton pressed on. Unfortunately, it was the wrong decision. By the time a tire change became unavoidable, rather than a 50-50 call, Hamilton knew immediately that the gamble had failed. When he finally pitted, a safety car was deployed due to 2 crashes, and Hamilton had dropped to 9th place. His frustration at the lost opportunity, feeling that a podium, or even a victory, was within reach, was as obvious as the clear blue skies that soon followed. "I thought you said it wasn't going to rain much. We missed a big opportunity there." Unfortunately, at the end, they told me it was only a short shower. The rest of the track was dry, so I was like, I'm going to stick it out as long as I can and keep it on the dry line. But they didn't say more rain was coming. And then more came. So I think I was just lacking that bit of information at the end. Ferrari's struggles in the tactical department have long been a point of criticism for the team, often serving as a sticking point for their detractors. Throughout recent seasons, the Scuderia has repeatedly found itself plagued by poor strategic decisions, costing them valuable points and championships. In 2022, a series of costly errors, including misjudged tire strategies and pit stop blunders, ultimately led to the departure of Mattia Binotto as team principal, marking a turning point for the team. Under the leadership of current team principal Fred Vasseur, Ferrari has made efforts to address these issues, with Vasseur focusing heavily on improving the clarity and accuracy of decision-making between the pit wall and the drivers. The Frenchman, who took over from Binotto at the end of 2022, has been keen to restore order and discipline within the team, hoping to create a more streamlined and effective decision-making process. However, despite these efforts, tactical missteps continue to surface, leaving the team with a long road ahead if they are to reach their full potential and challenge for the title. The 2023 season, marked by several questionable strategy calls, shows that while progress has been made, Ferrari still has much work to do to ensure the mistakes of the past don't haunt them further. However, the Melbourne Grand Prix revealed that Ferrari is still far from perfect. For Hamilton, what might be even more worrying than their strategic blunders is the glaring lack of pace from the car. While McLaren's dominance may have stolen the headlines, Ferrari was not only outpaced by the runaway leaders, but also struggled to match the speed of Verstappen's Red Bull and even Hamilton's former team, Mercedes, this weekend. Despite the excitement surrounding his $50 million a year move to Ferrari, Hamilton now fully understands the magnitude of the challenge ahead. If he is to contend for a world championship, he will need to face not only the technical shortcomings of the car, but also the fierce competition from teams that have been miles ahead in terms of performance. The road to a title at Ferrari will be much tougher than he might have initially anticipated. It went a lot worse than I thought it would go. The car was really hard to drive today. I'm just grateful that I kept it out of the wall, because that's where it wanted to go most of the time. Given the wet conditions on Sunday, Ferrari team principal Vasseur said Hamilton's struggles were to be expected in his first race with the team. It was not a shock, but for sure it was not a good weekend for us. But we focus on next week and learn a lot from this weekend, because we made mistakes. We need to improve the communication, understand what Lewis needs from the communication, and it is only in this situation that we can be in the situation. We will be much better next week. It's clear that Hamilton has a lot of work ahead, not just with his car's performance, but also in building a stronger relationship with his engineer. With the upcoming races, will Ferrari be able to turn things around? Or will they continue to struggle with strategy and pace? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for the latest F1 news.